Hello and welcome to another episode of Coach's Commentary. What a game it was, wasn't it? The reserve day rewards have been plenty for India. Yes, I'm talking about the India Pakistan game in the Asia Cup. There's a lot of criticism, there's a lot of views going back and forth about the creation of a reserve day for the India Pakistan encounter. Yes, that might have its own merit, but nonetheless, what has happened is that it's provided a lot of answers for Team India. Yes, before getting into what it is that Team India have gained out of that game, the important thing is that a crucial encounter, such as the one between India and Pakistan, has gone the full distance and a result has been achieved in the Asia Cup. Yes, one could always see the merit in the contention that the other games also deserved a rest day, but quite obviously, with the World Cup scheduled to start immediately almost after the Asia Cup, it is going to be impossible. What is important is that Team India was looking for some answers in the Asia Cup, which will perhaps give them a fair idea of what they need to do or what it is that they've been doing well as they get into the World Cup shortly. As far as that is concerned, they've got some lovely answers. The top four were in top nick against the much rated Pakistan attack. That is important because the Indian batters are good. The Indian batting lineup is really good. But what is important is for those batters to get runs against the best of bowlers that are possibly going around in international circuit. And that's exactly what India have done. Just the four batters having a go against the Pakistani bowlers, and they did extraordinarily well to pile up a huge score. Centuries for KL Rahul and Virat Kohli. Of course, Virat Kohli. What do you say about him? If at all is out of form, tell him that there's a game coming up against Pakistan and he'll get back into form. And that's the kind of results that he's got against Pakistan as an individual. He gets runs against them. He's aware of the importance of performing in a key game against a good bowling attack. Most importantly, is what really clinches things for Virat Kohli. As far as KL Rahul is concerned, I think he's answered all his critics, and there's a lot of apprehensions as to what it is that he'll end up doing because he's had a hiatus due to an injury. And will he cope up with the workload of having to bat long and also keep wickets? I think, of course, yes, keeping wickets was perhaps something that was not much of an effort given the fact that the Pakistan innings did not last long. But as was coming out of a break and getting into a crucial game, that too being told at the last minute, and to get 100 was something fantastic. He would be happy. Everybody would be happy. I mean, his fans and, of course, the team management will be really over the moon because they needed that reconfirmation leading up to the World Cup that everything is all right with the middle order choices that they made, and KL Rahul's 100 has come at the right time. Of course, this has provided a lot of answers as far as the middle order is concerned. And now getting to the bowling lineup, Kuldeep Yadav's 5 hour has also been a great thing for the team management because they backed him, they picked him for the World Cup, and now that he's delivered with a 5 hour, it's really heartening that the wrist spinner is back in good nick, and that's because of a few corrections that he's made technically in his bowling. If you remember his action in the past, his non-bowling arm would be going on an horizontal axis. It would have perhaps been going towards the right hand as mid-wicket, and as a result, his bowling arm was almost following suit. This did not help him gain enough loop, dip, turn, and bounce. And now, if you notice, yes, initially the non-bowling arm starts to go a bit towards the leg side, but then it gets back into a vertical axis and goes right behind his body, which is enabling Kuldeep Yadav to make the ball dip and bounce that little bit extra as well, which is what is going to be the key factor. Batters get deceived by the extra bounce that bowlers create, and Kuldeep Yadav now is creating that. Of course, with the way that he is delivering the ball now, he'll also be able to impart more spin and make the ball dip, which is going to really be very, very useful, especially if the pitches happen to be dry during the World Cup. As all in all, it's been a great outing for the Indian side, and Rohit Sharma will be really pleased. Yes, of course, there's still a few things that need to be sorted out as far as the Indian team is concerned. It is important that Shreyas Iyer and Surya Kumar Yadav have a hit somewhere. They need to get in a good knock or two so that the entire middle order unit is absolutely in form. And once everybody in the batting lineup gets into form, Indian batting lineup is perhaps arguably the best that you will have around in the ODI format now. And talking of the Indian lineup, we also uh, feel that we are short of all rounders, but Hardik Pandya now bowling the way that he's bowled against Pakistan gives us a lot of fillip, doesn't it? Because he will be an important cog in the Indian wheel as an all rounder. And of course, his batting has always been on the rise. He's always been improving his batting skills and his awareness as well. But it is the bowling as a result of him sustaining injuries frequently that everybody's worried about. But if he can bowl at least 6, 7 overs every game, the way he bowled against Pakistan, I think then India's chances of doing what they did in 2011 will definitely increase. And it was interesting that the same pitch on which both the teams played looked different as far as vagaries of the pitch is concerned, because when India batted, it didn't look like much was happening, even though one has to concede the fact that Pakistan were not really without the services of two of their main bowlers, but still, it did not look difficult at all. It was like a walk in the park. As far as the Pakistani batting lineup was concerned, it was more like a trudge in the mud because of what the Indian pace bowlers were making the ball do. Of course, it is not restricted to the pace bowlers alone. Kuldeep Yadav was a handful as well. But as far as the fast bowlers of India is concerned, they've done a grand job. They made the ball jag. They made the ball bounce a little bit more than the Pakistani paces did. And that augurs really well because we are going to play the World Cup on a similar kind of track. The pitches are more or less likely to be what we get to see in Sri Lanka. And the important thing is that the bounce needs to be really even and good, like it was on the strip that India and Pakistan played. Talking about the strip, full marks to the ground staff in Sri Lanka for making this game possible because they had to really work around the clock and they also had to work on a regular basis leading up to the game as well because the weather has been really not good for a few days. And full marks to them and also, of course, for all the ACC officials for ensuring that some game is seen as far as the spectators are concerned, and that by itself is an achievement. And with a few more games to go in the Asia Cup, I'm sure there'll be no dearth of entertainment. But as far as billions are concerned, the game between India and Pakistan went the entire distance, and it was heartening to see India put out the kind of performance that they did. As I started off by saying, there were a lot of reserved rewards for Team India. On that note, I'll wind up this episode, signing off the way I normally do by saying, until I catch up with you next time, be good and stay safe.